Well, firstly, I want to say that I'm very thankful for this comment. A lot of our videos have comments restricted specifically because we do have a history of getting cyber harassed, bullied, that kind of thing, a lot of trolls, other stuff. So we appreciate this genuine question, and because we have received this genuine question, we're going to positively reinforce that on our page by making a video to answer this question. And this person asks how we enter meditative trances, and for us, how we do that as a DID system, although I think this would probably work for anyone, for singlets too, is first getting into the habit of meditating. I once heard it put this way: it's better to meditate 40 seconds a day than 1 hour a week, because the key is consistency. You want to be consistently meditating, getting into the habit of meditating, even if it's just for like a minute a day. It's like you can actually meditate to music, and some spiritualists and occultists, they say don't meditate to music, because if you get into the habit of meditating to music, then meditating without music is harder. And whereas I can understand that and I kind of agree with that, it is just easier to meditate to music to me, because then that can be the focal point. And meditating, you're focusing on something. You can focus on your body, you can focus on your breath, you can focus on a candle flame, you can focus on a texture like holding something, you can focus on music. That's why a lot of people use music. And then what you're going to want to do is, when you have meditated enough to where you're able to meditate for like at least 20 minutes a day, I would say, when you've reached a point where you can comfortably and confidently meditate for like at least half an hour, that's when you're going to start to be able to enter these meditative trance states. And then what may happen is there is a crossroads between sleeping and being awake, that this crossroads place you can enter with your own mind that is in between you being sleeping and awake. So you're not asleep, but you're also not exactly awake. It's sort of being like half awake, or you're sort of awake, but you're sort of asleep. If you can get to this thing, this sort of trance, I guess, you will kind of start slipping into it naturally, I think. But you want to still be awake. Like you want to still be awake, but just so relaxed that you are just sort of on the verge of falling asleep. And then that's where you can start to have like hypnagogia, which is like the sort of hallucinations associated with before you fall asleep to dream, where your senses can be sort of amplified, I would say, while in this state that is somewhere in between falling asleep and being awake. If you start daydreaming, you can have very vividly realistic daydreams of pretty much whatever you want. And I would say that some people are able to take this mental crossroads and turn it into lucid dreams. However, personally, that's only happened to us like twice. I don't know why we just can't seem to grasp that, but it's just way, way easier to just inhabit that space rather than turn it into a lucid dream for us at this time, although we have had some. Essentially, if you're meditating often enough that you're able to control your body, to physically relax your body down, and then also mentally relax your mind, or in our case, minds down, you want to be really, really relaxed. And then when you already know how to control your focus on your body, you're learning to control your focus and attention with your mind. And then if you're using that on like daydreams or to have different experiences, what you can then do is sort of explore your own mind and gradually expand like one step at a time. Like when we first started doing this stuff, we could not visually imagine very well. Our visual clarity of imagination was essentially non-existent, although it really depended on the DID headmate. But now it's like when we do it, because we've practiced this enough, we can have extremely vivid daydreams that are so lifelike it really feels like we're there. And it's sort of like, I would say, moving into different experiences that some people call like astral projection and that kind of thing, although we call it a meditative trance state, or an altered state of consciousness, an altered state of awareness. But within this place that is not quite asleep and not quite awake, where you're just very calm, a lot of drug-like things can happen. And it's really, I feel, comparable to if you've ever been like drunk, or if you've ever had drug-induced experiences before. This is kind of like doing that, but with your just natural brain. And that's why I think meditation is one of those things, similarly to lucid dreaming, that highly, highly appeals to spiritual people, such as myself, is because, similarly to the altered states of consciousness brought about by alcohol and drugs, meditation can also lead to that. But I would say start practicing meditation, start becoming aware of your mind, your body. Learning to control your focus and attention is really the first step. And the more you can do that, the more over time you'll be able to and slip into that state of altered state of consciousness, and have such daydreams or vivid daydreams or whatever else you want to do. I don't just use it for that. I use it for communing with spirits. I use it to contact my other headmates. I use it to... I can slip into this trance state now within like 10 minutes or less. I can slip into it pretty quickly now, and because I can slip into it quicker now with practice, it makes it easier to do. And often I do it when I, like for my spiritual work and stuff as well, I will like meditate after making an offering and then feel the energy of whatever spirit I'm doing. But I think it's all through the same sort of not sleeping but not fully awake place.